All right, guys, I'm ready to tell you the story of the mitten, but this time I've got some little props with me, and they're going to help me tell the story. And I wonder if you can remember the order that the animals get into the mitten. I've got them all down here, but I'm going to hide them. Let's see. All right, so here is the characters of the story at the top. We've got Nicky, the little boy, and his grandmother. All right, I'm ready to tell you the story. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Nicky, and he really wanted his grandmother to knit him some brand new white mittens that were as white as snow. But his grandmother was worried. She said, "Nicky, if I make you white mittens and they fall in the snow, they'll get lost and you'll never find them." But Nicky really wanted white mittens, so his grandma made them for him, and she said, "Don't lose those white mittens. First, when you get home, I'm going to check to see if you're okay. Then I'm going to check to see if you still have both your white mittens." So she made the mittens, and Nicky went outside to play. So here goes Nicky. He's going outside to play. All of a sudden, he's playing, and his mitten falls out of his pocket, and he loses it. Well, while that mitten was on the ground, there were some animal friends that found it. The first animal that came was a little mole. Moles dig under the ground. He dug up, and there was a warm, cozy, white mitten, as white as the snow. And he said, "Ooh-wee! This mitten looks so warm and cozy, I'm going to move inside." So in the mole went. Do you remember the next animal that came? Hippity hop, hippity hop, hippity hop, came the snowshoe rabbit, and he saw that mitten and he said, "Ooh-wee! That looks warm and cozy, just where I need to sleep for the winter." But there was someone inside. He wanted to move in, and the mole didn't think there was room, but he saw the big feet on that rabbit and didn't want to get kicked. So he scooted over and let the rabbit inside. All right, what animal came next? Do you remember? Next came a hedgehog with all of his spikes, walking along. And he found the warm, cozy mitten, and he said, "Ooh-wee, that is warm and snuggly. I want to move inside." There wasn't a lot of room left. The rabbit and the mole didn't want him to come in, but they saw all of his pokey spines and didn't want to make him mad, so they scooted over and let him in. Ooh, what animal came next? Next came the owl. Woohoo! 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 Woo! And he landed on the ground right next to the mitten and said, "Ooh-wee! That mitten looks warm and cozy. I want to move inside for the winter." It was getting kind of stretched out, but he knew he could fit. The other animals didn't want him to come in, but he had sharp, sharp claws, and they did not want to make the owl mad, so they let him move in. The next animal was a badger. He dug out from under a tree, and there was a warm, cozy mitten. He said, "Ooh-wee! I want to go in that warm, cozy mitten. It looks so warm and it's so cold out here." The animals were getting really, really squished inside the mitten, but the badger had long, sharp claws for digging, and they did not want to make him mad, so they let him move in. Oh, can he fit? Oh, ugh. Next came a fox. the fox came running along, and he stumbled upon the mitten. Oh, it looked so warm and cozy. "Ooh-wee," he said, "I would love to cuddle up inside that mitten and make my nest for the winter." There was not a lot of room. The mitten was getting very stretched out. It was barely holding on. The animals did not want him to move in, but they saw his sharp teeth, and they thought, maybe there's room in the thumb. So they let him move in to the thumb of the mitten. Here goes Mr. Fox moving into the thumb. The next animal that came was the biggest of all. It was a big bear. He lumbered over to the mitten and he said, "Woo-wee! This mitten looks warm and I'm cold. I want to go inside for my winter hibernation." Now this bear was really big and there wasn't a lot of room, but none of the animals inside wanted to make a big bear mad. So they scooted really tight and they made a spot for the bear. And they all were cozy in the mitten till along came a little field mouse. And the mouse saw the perfect spot. He came right over and he perched on the bear's nose in the mitten. All of a sudden, the bear started to feel a tickle. "Ah, ah, 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 choo!" And all the animals fell out of the mitten. They flew all over the forest, and there was the mitten left on the ground. As Nicky walked home, he saw the mitten, and he picked it up. He was so glad that he had found it because he thought his grandmother might be mad at him. When he got home, his grandma looked at him, made sure he was safe and sound, and then said, "Nicky, where are your snow white mittens?" He held out both mittens to her. One was still normal sized, and the other one was so big and stretched out. His grandmother was confused, and so was Nicky. They wondered, how had that mitten got so stretched out? All the animals knew, didn't they? They had made a cozy spot for the day. The end. I hope you guys liked that story. And that's going to be our last time telling it for this year. I hope you guys like it, and if you ever want to go back and read it, you could get your own mitten book out and read it again.